Are you still fighting with Google for traffic? Give it up. Change your plan. Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast. And in this episode, I'm speaking with Raf and Rad, who head up the Buying Online Businesses SEO service. And I asked them so many questions on how do we actually work with clients, what it actually looks like from start to finish. We talk about how somebody gets onboarded, how they get so much value for free by submitting out their site to us, where we spend time looking at their site and then have a conversation with them on things they can do to change the site, what's needed to be done. We can get so much value, and you can go away and not even, obviously we want you to work with us, but you could go away and implement some things that we chat about even if you don't work with us. Then we also talk about why each SEO strategy is vastly different to what you have been taught, why more content and more links is the wrong way to go about SEO. That's a terrible SEO strategy that's based off a very, very old paradigm of how people used to grow sites. We talk about why each site has a different SEO strategy. We talk about why sometimes we need to pause accounts and pause our SEO strategy and wait for the environment to change or wait for our site to change based on the things that we have done to the site. We talk about how much it can cost to work with us, how much or how long it can take to get results. We talk about what are some of the things that best clients do to get great results that you can mimic and use and do yourself as well. And we just talk about how we work as being very, very different to a typical agency, being a non-agency, and why we share those ethics and morals in the work we do around things like not just producing an SEO audit with a bunch of things that are broken on your site and you becoming very, very worried and not knowing what to do and burying your head in the sand, to providing you something that's far more empowering, whether you with actionable steps that you can do it yourself or we can help you do it as well with our service. So there's so much value in this podcast episode. I'm sure you're absolutely going to love it. Without any further ado, we'll just dive straight on into it. With that said, there is a link to the BOB SEO service in the show notes, buyingonlinebusinesses.com/SEO-services. You can go away and check that out. And yeah, let's get stuck in.
Have you been lied to about how to increase organic traffic and grow your website? I too used to think that all you needed to do is add more content and gain backlinks. But this just doesn't work. More content and more links alone is not the answer. Nor do you need to butcher your website with generic SEO changes you picked up on some crummy online tutorial, leaving with a Frankenstein website that's slow and clunky. And because I got sick of seeing great people with great websites struggle to grow them, I decided to do something about it. I created an SEO service, which is not just about publishing content and getting links. Sure, we offer that. But first we give you quick wins, which are SEO tweaks we can make to your website that actually boost your rankings. And then we lay out a killer SEO strategy to acquire more traffic and revenue that outranks your competitors with less content and less links. We've thoroughly tested this service on many websites before launching it and have achieved incredible results, which you'll see on our landing page I'm about to share with you. Now you can finally buy a business and give it to us to grow it for you. To check out our SEO service, head to buyingonlinebusinesses.com/SEO-services and book a call to chat with us to see what is the best growth strategy for you and your website. That's buyingonlinebusinesses.com/SEO-services, and the link will be in the description too.
Rad and Raf, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Rad, you've been on here numerous times. I should let people know what episodes, because they're definitely ones to get back to. There is episode 239. There's another one. Been on quite a few. So I think you've been on 4 now, Rad. But Raf, this is your first time. We finally dragged you in on the conversation. So good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I hope I'm gonna be a good addition to this conversation.
Definitely, you definitely will be. I'll be grilling you at the start of this conversation, I think, on
There we go.
how does all this work? How does this whole SEO thing work? So for those of you guys who don't know, Rad and Raf head up the SEO team here, and everybody that comes through and does SEO work, like once people buy sites with Bob, they just basically move on to you guys under our umbrella, Bob, the SEO service. You guys head that up. And we're also taking on a lot of people that haven't bought sites, already own their own sites, right? That are just on our list, and they're like, hey, can you help us scale and grow this? And we've seen some really good results. Like, people can go away and check out our SEO services page and see some results. We've done some case studies on those. We've released those, so we won't go through that too much. But I just wanted to have this podcast episode to share how this whole thing works with, how does somebody become a client, and then what's the process? What does it look like? Because some people listening, they're new to buying sites, they're new to hiring an SEO service, and they're new to knowing, like, not knowing how it actually works and what they're going to get and all that sort of stuff, right? And I think it's also important that we touch on how SEO isn't what a lot of people have been taught as well, in terms of, there's so many people listen to podcasts and YouTube videos that are free from people that claim to be SEOs, and they do one strategy to their site, and maybe they are an SEO, and everybody else thinks this is what I need to do to grow my site. But it's very, very different between sites. So first, I guess let me ask, when somebody becomes a new client, what they do is they go to the services page, they fill in their details, and there's a bunch of different things we can do, right? Like content, links, content packages, link packages, just technical audit, and then there's a mixture and a range. And most people go through and we teach people that it's not just content and link packages that you need, it's other stuff, at different times. More so now, it's quite timely that it's not just content anymore, guys, and it has been for a long time. We've been mentioning that, we've been shoving it down people's ear holes for a long time. So let's finally get to the question. When somebody submits their details, they got a website and their email, they put it through. What then happens once they become a lead, guys?
When it lands on my desk,
Yes.
and usually when we have a drop down menu on when the potential client chooses what he she needs, is I don't know, because that's one of the options, and that's my favorite option, because that's the option that is closest to the truth. So I'm seeing that very often. So as a first step, I perform analysis, either on myself or with my team. And by analysis, I mean we really spend time on this site, and we're not built for this time. We spend an hour, sometimes even more, and we just analyze what this site is all about. What's the history of this site? Because obviously we do have access to a number of tools when we can check the history, when we can check all the ups and downs, competitors, current rankings, etc. So we put together quite a document to start with, because we also want to learn whether this site actually has the chances to rank and to what extent. So within a couple of days, usually 3 days, 3 working days, we send back an email like, hey, we spent some time on your site, have a look what we came up with, book a meeting with me, and I go through the document with you one by one. So this is another freebie when I offer an hour of my time, and you can spend the time with me, and I tell you exactly what I think this is a problem on your site and why you don't need any links, for example, or why I think you don't need any fresh content because you already have 1,200 articles and you just need to rebuild them, right? Because some of them from 2016 still in the title, like 5 best recipes for chicken in 2016, for example, and having all those new algorithmic changes in Google. This is something that you need to look at, and this is what we do as a first thing, to look how your content is performing and what kind of content you have on the site. So comprehensive analysis and then a free consultation, and this is a start.
I love it. So with this analysis, this is like, alone, there's so much free value in the sense that somebody just submits their site, it gets analyzed by you, Raf, and then you have a call to sort of highlight, this is what your site needs, this is what it doesn't need, sort of like helping people see through the smoke and mirrors of what they feel that they need to do or have been taught incorrectly by so many people, they can get off that call and be like, cool, that's great. And they could go away and do a lot themselves. Now, because it's so valuable, and when you highlight, hang on, like it needs to be done in a certain way and all that sort of stuff, that's where typically people are going to say, hey, okay, can you help me with this? And then the next question would come up is like, how do we work together from here? How much is it going to cost me? Also, how long is it going to take me to become a gazillionaire with this website? Right? Like, let's sort of set the scene on what it typically looks like here.
Yeah, just hold my beer. I make you a zillionaire on the side. No problem.
Or another
but
favorite quote from SEOs: "It depends."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Unfortunately, we would definitely prefer if that was, a straightforward system and straightforward service, but it's not. So yeah, basically, I'm all about strategy. So answering your first question, what we offer every single time, it doesn't matter what your site is, whether you are just starting your site or you make $500 or you make $50,000 on your site. We're saying like, all right, hold on, don't pump the site yet. Let's spend a month on something what we call a strategic month or a discovery. And this is a fully packed month when we spend around 25 working hours on your site, and we analyze it properly from every possible angle, starting with the technical, going through all the links that you have one by one, going all the content pieces that you have, finding patterns, content that lost rankings, content that you lost to the new competition that is potentially slower and smaller than you, but you lost your rankings to them. Whatever you lost during the algorithmic changes in the past 5 years. So it's going, the site is undergoing a very thorough analysis. But that's just the half of this beginning. Once we learn what's working well, what's been abandoned, what's not working at all, we put together a growth strategy. And I want to emphasize the word strategy to everyone, because SEO is all about strategy. If you don't have one, then you're never gonna win in long term, right? Because you obviously we have internet, so you're fighting with the people from all over the globe. Some of them with unlimited resources, so you just need to be smarter, right? And by smarter, I mean having a proper strategy for your business, for your site. So the second part of the discovery, which usually takes 4 weeks, so this first 2 weeks, we check all the elements that you have, or your competitors, and recent changes in Google. And the second 2 weeks, we spend on actually putting together a growth strategy, which is not usually a strategy that you'd see in other SEOs proposals, when they say, okay, you just need 7 links, right? It happens at my work, very rare, but it might happen that it's going to work. But usually you need something more, right? If you spend some time on a site analyzing it, then you can put together a growth strategy that really touches upon not just some differences between you and your competitors, content link wise, or core web vitals, for example, because this is important, but this is just the start. So what we're trying to look at, we're trying to put together a strategy when we say, hey, I think you need to repurpose your site or repurpose your content because you've lost 60% of your traffic to e-commerce businesses. You're not going to recover that. There's no chance, right? So we need to design a new site, basically. Don't write any content. We can use the content that you have. We're going to repurpose your content and create Amazon listings via programmatic SEO. And that's going to be a growth for your site because you have a very powerful link profile. Your site has been around for 6 years. You've been ranking for like 1 million keywords. But unfortunately, the situation changed in a very, bad way for your side for informational content, right? And those keywords are now commercial intent. That's just one of the examples that we had, right? So we are not afraid to suggest like, hey, all right, stop it now. Let's redesign it. And here are the reasons. So we try not to guess as much as possible, because that's also the thing that I hate with many SEOs. Sorry, colleagues, but uh, when people say SEOs say like, oh, we're just gonna test A, B, C, D for clients' money, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I said, right, yeah, SEO is a little bit about, experiments, a little bit about guessing, a lot about luck, right? But if you can limit those risks by proper analysis, like going through competitors properly, going through intent properly, and you can limit smaller risk around the project, then you can have better strategy that's going to work in the long term, and the money will be well spent. So this is what we're trying to do. That's why we're using the Discovery Month. And we've been hearing very often, especially at the beginning, from many, many clients and potential clients, like, hey, I don't need that. I just want to have some links.
Some links
Because
and
I think
content, please. Yeah.
yeah, or some content, or if you can fix core web vitals, which by the way is not as powerful driver for rankings, like green core web vitals, as people think,
Yeah.
because this is a lab data, and lab data is just one of the elements. Is a lot more complicated than that. Obviously important, but
So,
quite a lot of people overestimate that.
yeah, I want to touch on that because this is what a lot of people think, and it's frustrated me for years and years and years. Is that all right? To grow the site, you need a good amount of volume of content, right? Like it used to be like 2007 times, whereas like to grow a site, you just need to rank for as many keywords as you can, and to do that, you need to put out as many articles as you can. And he or she who put out the most pieces of content volume wise, starts to win that traffic. Now, I don't know how and why this has stuck around for so long, and so many people are fixated on you need content and you need links. And I have a sense that it's from content agencies and just link building agencies alone that are like, you just need to buy content and links. And this is why I want to start working with you guys, is because with your link building agency, you're like, well, hang on a second. I remember you told me that you got really frustrated with people that wanted to buy links from you. And you said, we can't give you links yet. We can't build links to this page because it needs all this other stuff first, right? It's a big reason why I got you guys on board with my own sites. Is like, I'm like, that's amazing, because you're not just going to sell me links just so you can make money and it's easy and my site doesn't get the ROI it would from that link building strategy, right? Or buying those links. First, there's so many other things that need to be put in place. And that's why it's so critical. People, if you're listening to this podcast episode, hear out that it's not content. You don't need more content and more links. You need a better strategy. And you could probably do it with like updating content and then regaining different links versus just buying more and more and more and slapping on top. And share this podcast episode with other people and put the message out that it's not about more content and more links. And it hasn't been for so long. So I wanted to ask you, how many people come in and say, I just want links and content? Like, is there a percentage of people that say, yeah, I just want links and content? I don't want your discovery month. I just want links and content. Is there a percentage?
Yeah, of course. I don't have like a super precise data, but I definitely say like around 60% of people that coming through the doors saying like, hey, I know what my site needs, which is sometimes true. But again, this is very rare. You need to have a lot of experience to really understand what your site needs at a given moment. And you might be right? But I think it's always wise to use someone else's mind and having a conversation about it first, uh, just for the sake of the process. And when you were saying about agencies pushing content and pushing links,
Yeah.
For so many years, and your question was like, why actually people think that they need content links? I think it's a combination of things, and and what's even funnier, to some extent, this is still truth, that you need content and links, but in a different shape and form that you ever thought about. So I think it's all started naturally with Google, because Google keeps saying naturally, like, hey, you want to rank, you need good content, right? You want to rank, you need good authority. You want to rank, you need good EAT, right? So all those sexy things. So Google was actually building a narrative around it, right, for so many years. And obviously, content agencies, link agencies, better, worse, SEO agencies, they built on it. Trying to play the system a little bit and having clients on the other side. So it's quite a complicated game, but it's quite difficult to actually change the way people think about their business in online in general, right? Because it got me thinking recently as well about what's the ROI on the content piece. And I've been asking those questions around. Hey, I know you want a full content writer, which, by the way, we do offer content writers to write or rewrite content for you. But I try to understand what kind of ROI that brings for the business that we work with. And I've been asking, like, hey, all right, fine, no worries, we can give you that. I think that's a good idea, even, looking at your site. But have you ever measured like ROI on your content? That you spend X, Y, Z, and what kind of ROI on those pages, on these hub pages, or this cluster of pieces, right? And I never had like, all right, I think my ROI is, or I know my ROI is. It's general. How people treat the business is like, oh, I'm spending 2K and I'm making 5K. That's a positive, right? Or I'm spending 1K and I'm making nil. That's negative. And I think this is oversimplification. And I really would love to have people that are open to having a conversation about how to actually make their sites as proper business. So obviously, starting as SEO should be started with the discovery, analysis, a proper strategy, but then thinking beyond ads, thinking just beyond simple things, and thinking ROI, like long term, what I can push through this content, right? And having this information and this analysis and this state of mind basically about business, it will allow you as a business owner not to think between algorithmic changes, like from algo to algo, like when I'm going to survive this moment, am I going to grow, and am I going to die next algo change? Because if you focus on users, focus on actually your business, your site, investing in design, investing in proper analysis, right? Not just pumping it for the sake of pumping it, then you will definitely win a better ROI long term. And this is what I'm trying to have. These are the conversations I'm trying to have with many people. Like, hey, yeah, let's have a conversation about it, right? Because I'm kind of experiencing building businesses. I've had a couple agencies before, a couple other businesses. So the way I look at SEO, content sites actually,
through the lens of a business owner.
Yeah, I'm looking like, all right, if I were an owner of this particular business, what would I do, right? I'm not looking at it only through my SEO eyes, because obviously that's the first sight, like, hey, oh, okay, SEO is good or bad. But the way I look at it is from the completely different perspective. And also that's why I'm thinking about user experience, user interface, right? I'm thinking beyond Amazon affiliate. I'm thinking beyond Google Ads or Ezoic or Mediavine, AdThrive, you name it. I'm thinking, okay, can we, create several pages that we can actually monetize it through different systems, something completely different that you ever had. Like, let's talk about this, right? So we're trying to expand our services in this area, and if anyone is open to having a conversation with us, we'll definitely want to hear, and we offer all the information that we know about how to actually monetize those sites in the long term.
Yeah, I think just very quickly, if I could add to why this is so compelling to just focus on content links. I think it's just because it's so simple. And it used to be that SEO was just that. I create a new content piece, I throw 2 or 3 links at it, and it starts taking off, right? So it's we tend to think in a linear way. So we try to process things, and this is very scalable. It's very simple to process. However, it's getting a bit more complicated to rank as well as you used to with just this simple approach. So yeah, I love what Rafal say, and on the previous episodes I've said that a few times. You, Jared, and I, we said that a few times, that think about your site as a business. That's really important.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just it's thinking in a different way, and you're right. Like, it is simple, and I'm I would like to say that I like simple as well, and I think who doesn't? But at times we need to do some more strategic plays and out of the box thinking to readjust us to get to another simple path and a simple process that works going forwards. Like, it's could be a massive adjustment, like changing so many things on a site to get to a point where it becomes simple again. But it's a simple strategy that you can keep working on for, months and months and months until something else drastic may happen, like an algorithm update, right? So I I agree with you. It's simple, but I don't think enough people, and I think you guys probably agree, I don't think enough people have kept one simple strategy and then had a really good look and a really good think and a really good change of strategy to recreate another simple strategy for maybe 6 months to 12 months moving forwards. And that's where people have gotten caught out, right? Especially with all these algorithm updates that have been happening. And what I really love about when people come and work with us is you guys getting on the phone. Well, particularly you, Raf. It's like there's so much, because it seems like to me from the outside, when I speak to people and clients that have spoken to you guys, it seems like there's so much unconditioning and reconditioning that has to happen for them to understand why you're going down this SEO strategy, this new way, versus what they thought would work. And how that happens is you getting on the phone and educating them. It seems like that is like one part of the process that needs to happen for them to mentally unlock themselves to growth in the business, to go, okay, cool, yeah, that makes sense now, can you go away and do it, versus like just do what you need. Because it feels like the biggest thing that holds people as back is their ability to realize what needs to be done. So how like, I know, but for people listening, like, do you do calls per month? Like, and how often do you speak to a client, on the phone? And what does that sort of look like? And I know this might change depending on how much somebody is spending as well, because, hey, look, it's, your time is valuable. But yeah, so is that a big part of the process as well?
It is, especially at the beginning, when we all, learning about ourselves, like, how we want to be communicated about things.
Mm.
So we have a simple process. Mm, one meeting a month,
What's that? Sorry,
which lasts one meeting a month
one meeting a month.
that lasts an hour.
Yep.
Um, that's usually how we work. Like, hey, okay, so we're just gonna prepare everything by the end of the month, which is gonna tell you what we've been doing for an entire month, what are the results, what are the future plans. We also prepare a bit of a dashboard when we show like certain keywords, when we show certain happenings on your site from Google Search Console, Google Analytics 4. Um, so, and we spend an hour discussing this, and then obviously, bringing new ideas again out of the box strategies. Like, hey, maybe we're just gonna modify this because we learned about X, Y, Z. Because running quite a number of sites, we also learn things on a daily basis. So we're trying to prove them, and then if one's proved, then we're just gonna add them to our process, like these micro changes. Um, Obviously, yeah, it depends how much you're spending. If you can spend more, you're obviously buying more of our time. beyond, other things that we do. You're buying our time. So we have clients that we are meeting bi-weekly. It's just 20 minutes meeting, every second week, every second Friday, for example. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. You have any questions? And I think this cadence actually helps when we have a client that is active, and we have an investor that is actually active on other fronts. Because I love to hear when someone says like, all right, I don't want this just to be my passive income from now. I want to learn about this. What can I do? And there's usually a lot of things that you can do, starting from mailing campaigns through social media. If you have any experience in that really helps. Working on EAT and so on, so on. So uh, once a month at least, or bi-weekly. But we obviously, just to add on that, we just message away. It does not mean that you need to wait entire month to ask us a question. Right? This is not what I'm saying. Um we use our CRM. When you have your project, all the people working on your project, and you can drop us a message. You have a direct line to me as well. I might not always answer within an hour or two, but I always answer within 24 hours. You have direct ping to me, direct ping to your project owner. Who's writing your content, or rewriting your content, or doing whatever. You can always ask a question to this person. So I think we're trying to be as transparent as possible, because I think the trust is a crucial thing here. Right? If you know us, if you understand what we do, and if you trust us, and we trust you that you're gonna pay on time, you're gonna be open to having a conversation. Then I think that's gonna work best. And again, SEO, it's pointless to do SEO for 2-3 months usually, like as a process, because that's a very long process, right? So you need to think a year, right, to actually run with the strategy properly.
I want to thanks for mentioning that, or talking about the messaging in the contact that you guys have. I think it's so important to feel like it's not just I'm paying money and I hear once a month, versus the ideology of people feeling like I'm working with you and you're my team, right? Like that's the sense that I get when I work with you guys, and that's the sense that I get that I'm working with when I'm coaching other people, right? Like, so just for people listening, we have clients that are doing the SEO work with you guys, right? They're SEO clients, and then they'll do coaching calls with me. And yeah, I help them build out email marketing campaigns within their own content site. I help them with the EAT. I help them, increase their revenue in different areas. And it's a good blend. It's a really, really good blend, because they feel held and supported. And that's why it's so important that you do have the contact with the clients. Now, I also want to talk about there's a guy who bought a business with us. His name's Marcus, and he hasn't been on the podcast, and he's also a SEO client. And he messaged me about their Discovery Month, saying, what's this Discovery Month? Is it just another audit? And there's a lot of SEOs that do audits, and he was a bit skeptical about it. And I was like, look, it'll be valuable, and it's not just going to be another audit that some SEO does, and they give you a bunch of things and you don't know what to do once you get the audit, and it's confusing and you paid all this money. The Discovery Month is very different, I believe, very different to what most SEOs are doing, where you do an audit, right? A massive audit, but then you at the end of that month, you have that call with them. You explain what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, with actionable steps for them to go away, and either they can definitely pick it up and do it themselves. And that's the fear that most people have, is like, if I get an audit done by an SEO, how do I know how to do it, right? Like, if I want to do it myself, because I spent X amount of money on it, and like I need to do it myself. So tell me a little bit how and why that is different, and tell me about the actionable like steps that you give
All right. um, I think other CEOs gonna hate it again.
them.
Look, when we founded non-agency, we said to ourselves, we're not going to be an agency as everyone understands it, meaning we're not just going to give people a spreadsheet to go away with. We're just not going to say to them like, hey, you need to grow your site to go away with.
Yeah.
Right. We said to ourselves, me and Rad, all right, we're just going to treat those sites as our own. Right. That's the first step, and it's a really mental change for former agency owners. Right.
Huge. It's huge versus
difficult to scale, but it's very valuable. So the discovery consists of many things. One is audit, obviously, but we are not presenting the audit in like spreadsheet format only. They're saying like, hey, you need to fix those 70 million meta descriptions, right? We not do that because we know that we have an investor in or a client on the other side. Like, so he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it anyway. So what's the point of the entire audit, right? What's the point? Is it point to take like 2-3K? That's not the money I'm interested in that much. Just having this money and contract ends. So what we do and how we do is we do the audit for you, and we implement this audit for you. And what you're receiving is like, hey, that was broken. We had 8 hours in your package because we have 4, 8, or 12 hours of like development work in the packages. We had, for example, 8 hours, so we fixed those things. You can check and validate those fixes here. We weren't able to fix this one big thing, but what we don't think it's super important at the moment. So you can put in a parking lot for 3 months and just come back and just we fix that then. Then what you're getting is actually you're not having just an audit done. You've got your site fixed, your site faster, you have a strategy on content, you have your content validated, you have your links analyzed, you have your competitors overview, you have a link building strategy going forward, and then you have a consultation when I go one by one and saying like, hey, all right, this is what we've done, this is what needs doing. That's the direction for this site from my perspective. And that was happened with Marcus actually, when he was very hesitant to having this discovery done. And obviously I know why, again, right? Because we've been hearing
What's the value in it?
Yeah, well,
That's
this
the
is
main
the thing
question.
this is the thing that most SEOs are putting out there is like, pay for this order for 2 to 3K, and you get a spreadsheet with a bunch of stuff that you don't understand and it's not actionable. Versus, hey, we'll do portion of an audit, and we will spend our time as SEOs resolving the things that we can get to that is important. We'll share with you on a phone call. Like, we're not running away from the audits, like presenting an audit and saying, good luck, here you go, and scaring people, right? It's more empowering than anything.
Indeed, because like what's the point of actually doing an audit and having a spreadsheet presented when it lacks of context, right?
Yeah.
When you just like, right, you have this broken, but okay,
What
I
do
mean,
I do
for
about
other
it?
SEOs, huge value, right? If you don't have crawler, you don't have time, and you are an SEO and you have someone doing like a crawls for you, segmentation on the Excel document and presents the data for you. If you give it to me, I'll say like, all right, then no problem, I can do it, right? But if we have someone on the other side, like it's not experienced SEO, then pointless exercise. And Marcus and many other people, they came to us with their audits done sometimes a few months back or whatever, and we're looking at those audits and like, yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I also really want to share more of Marcus's story, because the growth that we've gotten from the site is pretty cool. Maybe we could like put the screenshot, just like cheekily put the screenshot right here of the growth of his site. But I'd love to come back, and if we could do another case study on what we've done to get the growth out of that after Discovery Month would be awesome, because us three have talked about that off air and it's a really, really cool story. So the SEO discovery month is huge. It's not really comparable to an audit, what most people would be paying for. Now, when people come in and they're like, all right, cool, all of this is great. Like I can speak to you guys regularly. You're going to actually do changes on the site, not just give me a scary Excel sheet of an audit, and you're going to give me a proper strategy, not just the same old, from what I've been told, more content, more links. Hang on a second, how much does all of this cost? And not everybody has the same budget, because not everybody has the same income from their sites. So can people, start off with as little as like $400 a month, $500 a month? And then what's the typical of people, spending $5,000 a month? Like, well, obviously our goal is to get people to be able to spend more money with us and stay with us by getting them great results, right? That's like what you said, is like, you're not interested in like money from the discovery month. You're interested in working with people long term to get them great results where they're super happy, where we can basically manage their sites. So can people start off at the lower end, and what does that look like if they were to?
Well, difficult questions. No, but for real, yeah. I mean, we're starting like kind of a full strategies, like
let me
we
ask
manage sites.
let me ask it in a different way then, because I do get this question regularly. What do I get if I'm spending $1,000 a month? What can I get for that? Like, what goes into that? Like, most people are thinking, all right, if I spend $1,000 a month on my content site, I'm going to get X amount of pieces of content, and I'm going to get X amount of links. But we've just shared that, like, hey, it's not content, and it's not more content, it's not more links. So if they're going to spend $1,000 a month, what would somebody get for that?
It depends.
Yeah. Depends on the site, because it's not going to be the same for everybody, right?
Of course. I mean, just
I love your
it
laugh
could,
there, Rad, when he said it depends. It's such an SEO
yeah,
thing to say.
it's a trick, I think. But anyway, you know, it could be content and links if this is what your site needs, right? So when you have 1K, that's not a lot for SEO these days. But we're trying to use it in a smart way, right? So when we see that, let's imagine a situation that this is a site that you're making, I don't know, 500 on, and you have like 100 articles, and 20 of those articles are actually producing some results, and you come into us, and you say you have one grant to spend on. So we're not gonna be pushing you to overspend. We're not gonna be pushing you to to compete with the biggest guns, right, in your niche, because that's not possible. We're trying to be realistic about it. So what we're saying is that, all right, let's do smaller but still discovery, right? You have one brand that's going to give you a decent discovery, and we're going to find elements that you can invest in. So it might be, the other 80 articles that we already have but not performing. So let's put a content right now for an entire month. Let's spend entire grant on this. Give him this time to rework your articles, right? So very much depends on your situation, right? It might happen that you have a large site, huge, and you had like 250,000 of traffic, but the algo change came, right, and your income is slashed, and you don't have that much money to invest. Then we rather focus on first on proper analysis, why you're hurting, right? What happened? So we're gonna spend time on technical things, on analysis, or actually understanding and learning what is an actual problem with this site, because it's ranking so high, it's not ranking anymore, right? So we're gonna spend time on this. I'm gonna be always transparent, and I'm always transparent with people, like saying like, hey, I mean, that's gonna give you those 40 articles redone, or that's gonna give you 5 hours or actually proper analysis and some going forward plan, right? And we are actually having a lot of requests like, right, my site is actually going down and it's been making 12K, but it's making 4 now, right? Well, the best I can do is like 2 3K to invest in next month to just put a strategy together. So that's also okay, right? If you believe in your site still, and that's also a message to to business owners, like especially to the new people in SEO game. Algo change happened. Don't worry about it, right? Even if your site is suffocated by the change, the correction might come. If not, and your site's history is decent at least, so there's not like bodies in a wardrobe, as they say, then the recovery will come. But everyone needs to understand that these days the recovery, it's not about getting those keywords that you lost back on the first page sometimes, because as I mentioned today, intent and many other factors playing role. So you might hear from us like, hey, let's just, kill this part of the site and build something new on this side. And that's the very harsh message I need to, carry across sometimes, saying like, like yesterday I said like half of your site needs to go,
Yeah, I remember.
because
I
like
remember. I remember you
yeah.
talking with me about one of the clients as like, well, okay, like it's a scary thing because what they think is like half the site's gone, but reality is that if you keep that, it could be holding it back as well. Versus
Yeah,
like
it's
putting your resources.
literally gangrene.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy to think
Hu-
that way, but I mean, cut it off. Like if it's cancerous, get rid of it. And I think that message is really good. Good, Rav, is like, and this is what I'm doing when I'm speaking to one-on-one coaching clients. There's so many people being smashed by a recent update, and I'll tell you what's really scary if your site gets hit by an update is if you don't have professionals helping you or working on the site. That's what's scary about an update. But if you do have professionals that have turned around many sites that have had these things happen, like we've showed in case studies that it's possible, right? And it gets done regularly. Depending on the site, sometimes there's parts that we might need to cut off and do different strategies, but it's very scary if you don't have a proper professional team working on it when these algorithm updates roll around, right?
Yeah. Basically, as you were saying about cancer and gangrene, yeah, like, having some medical problems and not professional around, that's scary. And the same with the SEO, right? You're not gonna cure your cancer yourself. I mean, I know some people claim it, but I don't believe that's gonna work. um so yeah,
I
I mean,
just sorry, I just wanted to go back very quickly to this question about the lower budgets, because I have two perfect examples that put you on like two absolute extremes on the scale of a low budget, what we did in it. So we had this travel blog client joining us on a very small budget, below 1K. And what we did for this client within that budget, 1 month, we sat down with our head of strategy, Krzysztof, and we strategized. Okay, so what does the site need to sort of be different from the competitors, better, more helpful? And I'm hinting at the helpful content update a little bit, because this is what you should be thinking, how to make it better. And what we did, using programmatic SEO approach, using APIs that we've found, we created a table that goes, and we created, implemented, and automated it, and it's all sort of on autopilot. But we have a table that specifies all the details about the country, that each blog post regarding a travel, a destination is plus additional stuff that is interesting, like about this destination, and we rolled it out site wide. It looks awesome. It gives a lot of value to the users, and it just works great. On the other hand, we had a client with relatively low authority, and as much as I know, it's debatable whether or not DR by Ahrefs is a measurement of authority. But I'll just put it out there to have to add context to it. The DR of this site was 1.2, so very low. Okay, and we were like, okay, so this site needs some strong links. So we used a budget, also around 1K to get it, six, but really strong, sweet, premium links, to boost this DR up, a little bit. So you know this is just to show you that the approach, as Rafal said, it depends on the site, but it differs, because sometimes we go with crazy stuff because that's what the site needs. Sometimes we would go with something r- seemingly small, but that the site needs as the highest priority.
I love that explanation. I when I'm working with clients one to one and they're acquiring a site, they're looking to purchase a site. Let's just say it's like an $80,000 site and it's making roughly two grand, over 2 grand a month net. Typically, what I like to tell them is, if you're going to buy an 80 grand site, or if you've got 100 grand to spend, maybe buy something around, with 80% of your budget, and then once you purchase it, get a team of professionals to just really give it a good kick start at the start, right? And have a look at the under the hood properly, get a proper audit done, get some SEO work done, clean up the tech stuff if that's what it needs, and then give it its best chance at absolutely winning by taking that 20% of your budget and putting that into growth of the site. Because then you can not only put, like, whatever it's making, 2 grand a month for the first 3 to 5 or 6 or whatever months it is, into growth, but you can also put that portion of the budget into growth as well. So that's what I believe is going to set people up for success. But I wanted to ask you guys, what are the people that do get really good results? What sort of people are they? Like, is it because of their budget, or is it because they're like, yep, go away and get it done? Like, what are the people that getting the best results do typically?
Oh, that's a very good question. Um, Typically, um, people are getting the best results, saying like, "We trust you guys, right? And we're gonna stay for longer, or I'm gonna stay for longer with you. Like, whatever happens, like, let's put some goals in front of us. Let's be transparent about our goals, expectations, potential results, and let's work towards those goals together." And however cliche that sounds, but having a common goal with the agency or non-agency in this case is actually a fantastic exercise, because your meetings are not around, like, your monthly regular meetings or bi-weekly meetings are not around like, how, all right, we've built 7 new pieces of content, or we have fantastic links, or we rebuild those pages for you, or XYZ. So again, we 7% closer to the goal, and this is what matters. Because if you have a goal like, let's imagine a goal 100K traffic starting from 5K in a year, I love that. You need to have a budget to support it, of course. uh, but if we have a goal together, and we have a really significant level of transparency of where your money goes, then you know that we're working towards the goal. We're not working towards the next invoice, right? um, and I think, we had and still have quite a number of people that want to dictate what we're supposed to be doing, which is sometimes fine. Obviously, if you are a client, if you know what you want to do, and if you would just want to do, work with us by buying certain things from us, we accommodate that, right? If you need that, sure. But we would rather prefer if we're having a conversation about goals and long term, right? Because that's also a very common misconception that you're going to implement something on your site and it's going to reward you next month. Unfortunately, with a broken heart, seriously, that's not going to work like that. And I would definitely prefer SEO to be like, right, I'm just going to, put magic code in it and it's going to work next month. Unfortunately not. So again, the people that, have best results for first, long-term goals and freedom, right? Those three elements are super important. But by freedom, I want to emphasize that as well, because when I recently said to someone, I need freedom in a campaign, the client did not respond to my email for 3 months. It's not the freedom I'm looking for, right? I need a freedom that is, it's kind of
Trusting.
freedom if, yeah, but trust and freedom if in my moves. But I want you to want me to explain.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want you to want me to educate you about the steps I'm taking. And I want you to offer critique, because your point of view, it's a different point of view. And when we are meeting, we have like a technical point of view, business/technical, my point of view, and they're your point of view as an investor, right? So talk to me, talk to us. If you offer a feedback that it's full of critique for certain moves, if I am unable to defend the strategy, if I am unable to, to look in your eyes and like, all right, that's the best strategy because XYZ, and here is the math for it. If I'm unable to defend that, then the strategy is wrong. Then you're right, and we can, rework it. Think about it again, right? So you probably see what I'm heading with this. Like, SEO is all about long term and having conversations and having trust between parties, right? If we have all those things, with all those elements, you will be successful. We might not be hitting 100% of the goal every single time, right? But you're gonna be successful. And it's even with like sites that are not content sites. We run some projects for medium large service sites or e-commerces, right? It's the same thing. If they give us a significant level of trust and a budget that helps us actually deliver on the project, and very clear transparent objectives, then they are successful. Because one last word on this, why this kind of trust and transparency is important, especially when algo changes, right? And Google is providing us with very rotten sandwiches couple times in a year. Um, so we need that kind of freedom to act quickly. So if we had agreement like, okay, this is what we're gonna deliver to you, right? But the algo change happened. uh, if we have a trust between us, then we'll just use this budget next month for completely different things. And we're just gonna explain when we have a moment to catch up, and we'll tell you why. But we're not gonna deliver you those content pieces, or we're not gonna deliver you those design changes or whatever, because the system has changed, right? So we don't know, right? So it's better to pause and just even spend this money on analysis, on monitoring, on like, okay, understanding why we actually going into this direction with the site. So yeah, it's all about relationships. I think that's the final word for it. Is like, if you have a good relationship and if you trust me, we trust you, then that's going to be a successful project.
Yeah, I think it's worth also putting it in context. So when you work with us, you have your budget and you're buying resources with this budget. In your If you're dictating us how to work on your site, then you're paying us to execute your strategy, and then this element of our strategy during the discovery month might not get implemented because we're busy working on your strategies, burning the resources that we pay for, instead of on the strategy that we design, that we know is going to work. So, like Rafal earlier said, when we're happy to have a conversation with the client, pretty much every day. But then while we're having this conversation, we're using up the time that is delegated to your campaign. So we might not do something that is pretty important on the campaign. So and this is where this freedom is very important, because we're happy to get an uh, extra ask from you, like, hey, can you implement that content for me, or can you change something small on our website. We're happy to do that. However, bear in mind that this is taking away from the campaign that we designed for you, and we're trying to execute for your benefit to rank, right? It's very important to look at it from this resource perspective, in that freedom ties with that extremely close. And at the same time, what Rafał said earlier, which might have sounded, oh, how come you only have one call with a client a month? It also ties with the resources, because we'd much rather uh spend 5 hours digging through your site and changing something, or implementing some big programmatic thing, in opposed to, with as much due respect, we love talking to clients, but we'd much rather get the stuff done than spend it on just talking.
You touched on this, and it just got me thinking again why we are not an agency,
Mm.
because we do not have those frontline people only, you know, that talking to clients and not actually doing the work. So when you work with us, you're actually talking to the people that do actual work on your project on a daily basis, right? So we might have fewer conversations, but those are powerful conversations. So
Very different than
I love what you
it's
just said.
very different than an agency that has one client-facing person that talks to all the clients that doesn't do the groundwork on the aid. They're not don't actually have their hand or any part of them attached to the campaign.
Yeah, we've tried that before, and it didn't work specifically because the client facing person didn't always know what's being executed on the campaign, and there was a lot lost in translation from the technical person, from the SEO, through the client manager to the client. There was a lot of stuff getting missed, and vice versa, because sometimes clients obviously are a bit more technical, or know their business in something, and conveying that message through a third person in the middle is not always working. So we've been there. It didn't work that well, and we just have this connect line to the person who's actually there on your side, working on it, or managing the person who's implementing everything.
Cool. Yes, totally makes sense. And it sounds like it's, through so much experience, you guys have come to this model and this way of working that actually gets results. Now, speaking of results, let's maybe set some expectations for people. Like you said before, and you alluded to before, Raf, is like, all right, let's spend some money this month. And, like it's not, you're just going to see instant results. This is SEO. Most people know it takes some time, but is there a typical sort of period where people will start to see like some results or something happening from a campaign getting implemented, and how long are we, like, roughly speaking? I know, and everybody else should know, that this is an average, and every site's different, and the environment of Google and other sites changes, and it's very different. But roughly speaking, when do people, want to start seeing some results? And results can be different, right? Results doesn't just mean your traffic going up and to the right. It can be very different than that. It can be, authority and whatnot. But what's the
Yeah,
how do you answer that question when people ask you that?
yeah, that's a part of the conversation every single time. fairly so. I mean, that's essential to talk about it. So when we have a future goal in front of the site and trust between parties, mm, then we talk less about results on a monthly basis. But we do have a number of clients that we talk about results all the time, because we don't have those long-term goals. And when we're starting having a conversation about when we're going to see results, I'll try to be, again, as transparent as possible, as open as possible. So I'm saying, usually, and that's true, it depends again. And the way we understand results is that your ultimate result is your valuation of the site, and the money you make on the site is going up, right? That's ultimate goal, right? But before that happens, we need to look at your site. What shape is it in at the moment? And sometimes the result might be we need to have new content indexed because you have indexation issues and you've been losing traffic. Google was de-indexing your site. So we had that situation, when actually 70% of the content was de-indexed because it was poorly produced. So our goal, our result was analyze it and have like 40% of this content back, right, in Google search results. So it means rewrite the content, republish the content, revamp generally, and have this index. That's the result. And obviously, once it's getting indexed, started producing some traffic, your money you start making more money from the site. But to put this in a bigger perspective, on average, it takes 6 months to see really some tangible results. And I know it's quite difficult to be patient with that, but you have to, right? If you're investing in a site that's going to make money from SEO, you need to have that cool head, right? Talk about it, suggest, critique if necessary, but you need to give that time, because I'm always saying, like, hey, if you produce some fantastic pieces, or you redesign your site, or do something major, like in a second month, we have discovery the first month, the second month we're just running up sleeves and trying to get into more and more changes on the site, whatever we do, and sometimes it's really significant, then you might see the effect 2-3 months later, right? So you need to be armed in patience, and like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for this, right? um, um, and we had that situations almost every single time. If the strategy was correct, the budget level was to fulfill the strategy, and we wanted to roll this strategy quickly. Within 6 months we had results. But worth to mention, we are not blinded as well, right? So it happens that we have a strategy, we start rolling the strategy, but yet another algorithmic change, and our strategy is not as beautiful as it used to be. But we're not crazy to just we're not gonna push this strategy forward, even though that the situation changed. We, again, transparent people, so we sit down with you and say, like, hey, unfortunately, the change in Google is super, super, super significant, and in your niche especially. So what we're gonna do, you don't pay us extra for it. We sit down on this, we use the budget that you have, we add some of our own hours, and we rework the strategy, right, to accommodate the change and whatnot. So this is what we do, and this is what you need from the specialist team working with you, not blindly following certain steps that they have written in SOP by someone who's never seen an SEO, right? You need people that are actually living that on a daily basis, right? And if something is changing, then it's better take a deep breath, pause for a moment even. And we offer that, like, let's pause. we've been asked, and we're recording this somewhere in late October, right? And we've been asked many times about recent algo changes and when we're going to have recovery plans, because some clients suffer, um, or they're just coming to us like with the sites being hit, and we're saying like, let's wait till the all changes roll out, because as we speak, the core algo update is still rolling up. So I wouldn't say it's pointless for us to put a recovery plan at this particular moment. Maybe it's not, but the money will be better spent if we let the algo rollout finish, and then we put a recovery plan based on what we find. Because yeah, that's
I really like that.
that's how we go about it.
Yeah, I
So
really like that because you mentioned that with one of my sites as well. It's like, all right, we've spent this money on this thing, and it's a change, significant change. Let's just pause it for a little bit and see how it reacts in the current environment before we go away and spend money on what's actually going to work versus like thinking what's going to work. Because I'm a big believer of like inside out growth and leaning more into what's working and doing less of what's not working. And to find out sometimes what's working after you've made a change, you need to wait and see what's working, right? So then
yeah,
that's a change.
yeah,
That's a change that can happen that you make to your site, maybe a pause, or a change that happens in the environment as well, right?
yeah. You know,
Mhm.
you sometimes you're driving and just there's been an accident on a motorway.
Mm-hmm.
It, you just sit in a traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not trying to squeeze between the cars, trying to get to the next exit
Mm-hmm.
SAP. You just need to sit down, relax, and get someone else to the job and clear up the motorway path.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is
or
another
maybe on
analogy
a
here that
or maybe on a little more positive, there's there's a viewpoint and you just want to stop and admire the view.
Yeah.
always optimistic. But yeah, all right.
No, but it's true either way. Like sometimes, I mean, patience has been it's been one of something that's been really, really hard for me in my life. And the more patient I've become, the really the better things have been. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like I don't know. It's just something I've noticed, and patience pays off. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely in life, in SEO,
Mm,
everywhere. Like
yeah.
but at the same time, you cannot just wait for the good things to happen to you. You need to act on this,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
act
You
properly,
need to have
right?
a good blend of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, we've been chatting for well over an hour now. Is there anything that you guys wanted to mention before we do wrap up about working with clients, SEO, and all that sort of stuff? I'm sure we're going to come out with more case studies and stuff like that, which will be fun. But is there anything you guys wanted to mention that we may have talked on through this chat that you wanted to expand on before we wrap it up?
I think we cover most of the things that we wanted to chat about. Like a final word would be, you can really expect us being open, transparent, and knowledgeable about SEO. And if you come to us, there's no obligation whatsoever. You come to us, you receive free analysis, free consultation. If you like us, we like you, we both love your site, then we're going to work together on this. If not, you will already have a number of things that you can work with, or with your current team or by yourselves. Not a biggie. And you can always come back to us month to three later.
Mm,
Our doors are open. So that's the message I wanted people to hear for sure. That
mm.
um,
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I think we said that earlier with regards to the discover analysis and strategy month, but at the end of this month, and I'm sure Rafal, being more of a salesperson, will probably hate me for that a little bit. But at the end of
don't
this
say
month,
it.
when you hate that and say it, when you receive the whole strategy, obviously we do invite you to work with us on the strategy. However, if you choose so, you're capable or you have VAs to execute that, you can take that away and just do it yourself, right? We don't tie you necessarily with us. And my point when we were designing this was to give the client what they need. And it's funny, but I want to just go back to this auditing approach. If the audit doesn't tell you how to fix things, just tells you what's fixed. And I know this is probably the definition of auditing. You're looking at what's broken, not fixed, broken. But our audits always, like Rafal said, we already take away and fix some things for you. But on top of that, if what we couldn't, we tell you, okay, so this is it. This is how you approach that. And yeah, it's just a lot of value. Just a lot of value. We
Yeah.
leave you with value. We're more than happy if you want to, execute this strategy with us. It's great, but you're not tied to us.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, there are people that are getting things done by their assistants. You guys bring the strategy. You're doing a portion of the work, and a portion of their assistants are doing the work, and it's like a blend. And they've got different people doing different things, and it worked well for them, and works well for everyone. So yeah, that adaptability is really, really good. Now, for everybody listening, if you haven't already, go to buyingonlinebusinesses.com/SEO-services. You should be able to see it on the main page, is bob.com, or buyingonlinebusiness.com, if you guys want to jump in and work with us. And yeah, thanks, Raf. Thanks, Rad, for coming on and chatting. It's been really good to just hash out how it all works, set expectations for people, and share with everybody, what it's all about. And yeah, really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a pure pleasure having a chat with you guys, and talking about our business and the way we approach things. And yeah, I wish everyone good luck with the new algo changes. You need any help, reach me out. I'm happy to share my knowledge.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for your value. Thanks for your shares, and thanks for everything you do for us and all the clients. And we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey YouTube watcher, if you thought that video was good, you should check out this video here on the 2 best types of websites beginners should buy. Or check out my playlist on how I made my first 100K from buying websites and how to do due diligence. Check it out. It's an awesome playlist. You'll enjoy it.